take off. I can understand you.
I now call to order the York County Regular School Board meeting for February 28th, 2022. Before we begin, you'll notice that many board members and staff are without masks tonight. At 5 o'clock today, staff and families received a communication about the move to make masks optional for staff and visitors based on updated guidance from the Department of Labor. As we exit the month of February, we're heading toward daylight savings time in spring, and I know I'm looking forward to that, as many of you are. Our school division is also moving forward, and our students are accomplishing many positive things both inside and outside of the classroom. It's always a pleasure to be able to honor them at our meetings each month. With that being said, I would like to share the mission statement. The mission statement of York County School Division is to engage all students in acquiring the skills and knowledge needed to make productive contributions in the world. Next, I will share some information about our pledge leader, Hugh Thompson, a 5th grade student at Dare Elementary. Hugh, will you stand up? Hugh is an exemplary student and a pleasure to have at Dare Elementary. He eagerly tackles academic challenges and asks great questions. He is always kind to his classmates and includes others. He was disciplined, responsible, and never makes a disparaging remark. Recently, when indoor recess items were left out, Hugh voluntarily put the items away even though he had not taken them out. This is one example of his character. He does the right thing without being asked, even when no one is looking. Hugh comes to school every day with an optimistic attitude. He infects others with his positivity. Hugh has an intense love of learning, and he bravely faces all challenges. He was conscientious about completing his assignments, and he eagerly participates in the Extend Gifted program and always tries his best. Although Hugh is diligent about his academic work, he has an excellent sense of humor that brightens everyone's day. Staff and students respect Hugh for being an outstanding student both academically and because of his character. In addition to his academic talents and contributions to the school community, Hugh is a talented athlete. He takes his passion for baseball seriously as a player on a travel team. Hugh is a role model to his teammates for sportsmanship and teamwork. We are so proud of Hugh because whether he is at school or in the community, he always strives to D-A-R-E, do great work, accept responsibility, remember to be safe, and embrace kindness. Please stand as Hugh leads us in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, Hugh.
Nice work, yes.
Now we're going to move into our awards and recognitions part of our meeting. Tonight we have Seniors of the Month joining us. So the following students are going to be recognized. So when I call your name, if you would stand along with your family, that would be great. For Bruton High School, we have Braden Kuykendall. Mr. Schaefer?
Yes. And Braden is accompanied by his mom, Wendy, and his father, Gregory. Welcome. Bruton High is proud to recognize an all-around talented Panther, Braden Kuykendall, as our February Senior of the Month. Braden has challenged himself and found success in the arts, athletics, and academics. Braden's success in the arts has included 4 years in SOA, exploring the areas of dance, advanced theater, and literary arts. Braden's talent has earned him the lead role in several musical productions, including 42nd Street, Into the Woods, Forbidden Broadway, and I just had found out he was Gomez in the Addams Family. You saw that production. It was awesome. It was awesome. He is also a 3-sport athlete, competing on varsity 2A regional and state teams in cross country and indoor track and outdoor track, which is coming up soon, right? Braden is an accomplished scholar and has earned the Academic High Honors Award each year. He has taken over 11 advanced placement courses and enjoys learning Japanese. There you go. He participates in Governor's Japanese Academy and the Governor's Health Science Academy, exploring the sports medicine pathway. Braden serves as a member of the International Thespian Society and as vice president of the National Honor Society. Braden also dedicates his time and talents to support his community by volunteering with the World War II Long Range Desert Group, interpreting and reenacting World War II living history events. He has fostered and assisted in finding forever homes for over 100 kittens at the Heritage Humane Society. Braden plans to attend college in the fall, in one of 3 schools, to major in international relations and affairs. Congratulations, Braden. Good job.
Mr. Higginbotham, you have our next Senior of the Month.
Yes, the February Senior of the Month from Grafton High School is Matthew Bryant. Matthew, if you could stand up. His parents are Dennis and Patricia Bryant, and Dennis is here, and his brother Owen. Grafton High School is pleased to present Matthew Bryant as our February Senior of the Month. Matthew currently serves in a leadership role as the president of the class of 2022, and he served as the class vice president last year. In these roles, Matthew has worked to protect as many high school experiences for his classmates as possible. He planned activities during the pandemic to increase the sense of connection and community among GHS students, despite the limitations forced by COVID-19. Matthew has helped to plan outdoor activity nights for the school, fundraisers for the class to pay for activities such as homecoming and prom, and has generated ideas to find ways for our seniors to celebrate their final year of high school. Matthew is enrolled in a rigorous coursework with multiple AP courses where he has performed at a high level, especially in his STEM courses, even through the pandemic. This academic success has granted him induction into the National, Spanish, Math, and History Honor Societies. In addition to maintaining strong academics, Matt is also a member of the Grafton varsity and Virginia Legacy soccer teams. Outside of school, Matthew maintains a part-time job while also working to volunteer with his church. Matthew's success and perseverance as a leader for his peers during the last 2 years are great indicators of Matthew's character and strong desire to make his community a better place. Matthew will be attending Virginia Tech, go Hokies, next year, and wants to continue to serve others by working towards a career in biological systems engineering and work with biotechnology. Matthew is a wonderful student, and we are lucky to have him at Grafton. Congratulations, Matthew.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, I have January's Grafton's Senior of the Month, and it's Bryson Fell, if he could stand up. And Bryson, you have some other people with you. Is it your mom and dad, Sarah and Jared, and your sisters are here too, right? Let me read their names: Abigail and McKenna. And is there's somebody else with you? She can stand up too. Let her stand up. What's your name? Mason. Very good. Very good. Well, you couldn't make it last month, so we're doing this tonight. So I'm going to read your write-up now. So Grafton High is very excited to introduce Bryson Fell as January's Senior of the Month. During his time at Grafton High School, Bryson has pushed himself by taking rigorous class load and classes in advanced English, biology, mathematical analysis. Bryson also utilized his course offerings to develop himself as his personal passions through leadership, photography, psychology, sociology, and digital applications classes. Bryson's diverse course selections have helped him form a strong work ethic, excellent time management, and a passion for learning. He has worked hard for his 3.50 GPA and will definitely use his mature, self-disciplined, and intrinsic drive to succeed each day at the collegiate level. Bryson's transcript reflects a wealth of knowledge accrued through his high school classes. However, he does not show personal growth and insights learned through extracurricular commitments. A talented three-sport athlete, Bryson learned the value of dedication, skill development, and handling, coaching, and criticism through his 4 years at Grafton's football, lacrosse, and basketball teams. His commitment paid off, earning him all-region awards in football and lacrosse. His leadership abilities earned him the positions of lacrosse and football team captain for multiple seasons. Not wanting to be just an athlete, Bryson uses his spare time to serve through various outlets at his church, as well as a student assistantship at Grafton's school counseling office. He knows the value of giving back to his community while bettering himself and those around him. Bryson is an amazing student athlete and an impressive young man, and he is most deserving to be Grafton High School Senior of the Month for the month of January. Congratulations.
Mr. Myatt?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm delighted to introduce Tiana Thomas, the Tab High Senior of the Month. Tiana is joined by her grandmother, Denise Smith from Atlanta. Welcome. And her younger sister, Maya. Tiana's mother, Tanita, couldn't make it tonight. She's out of town, but I want you to pass congratulations to her also, if you would. Thank you. Academically, Tiana is an outstanding student and has maintained a very rigorous course load while at Tab High School. Upon graduating, Tiana will complete 7 advanced placement classes and numerous honor courses while maintaining a GPA well above 4.0. Outside of the classroom, Tiana represents TAB in 3, it's a magic number tonight, 3 varsity sports. She is a member of the varsity volleyball team that finished as the state runner-up and regional champ, the basketball team where she serves as captain, and the outdoor track team where she's also a regional champion. Tiana's coaches laud her participation as a true team player who always exhibits the highest level of sportsmanship and positive encouragement for her teammates. She is also a member of the National Honor Society and volunteers in our school community tutoring students at Bethel Manor Elementary School. She manages to accomplish all of these things while working part-time at a local restaurant. In all of her endeavors, Tiana strives to do her very best. She is easygoing and highly effective team builder and leader. Tiana has earned the respect and admiration of her peers, a fact that was clearly on display when she was voted as the TAB High School Homecoming Queen when the celebration returned to high school this past fall. Tiana displays dedication, humility, and a strong attachment to her school. TAB High School is lucky to have her as a student and is very, very proud to present Tiana as the Senior of the Month. Thank you very much for your excellent personal example and your leadership. Congratulations.
And I actually have our final Senior of the Month from York High School, Nand Patel. Would you stand with your family, please? Nand is here with his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Patel. Driven, ambitious, and diligent are the first words that come to mind when asked to describe Nand Patel. He is a phenomenal student and proud member of the Falcon family. Nand attends the Governor's School for Science and Technology, which is one of the most rigorous academic programs offered in the school division. Nand has maintained an impressive grade point average and ranks in the top 10% of his class. Due to his academic success, he holds membership in Mu Alpha Theta, Spanish National Honor Society, Science National Honor Society, and the National Honor Society. Nand's dedication and leadership in the Navy Junior Reserves Officer Training Corps program is impressive. Throughout his time at York High School, he has held the positions of executive officer, class leader, and academic club chief. Last school year, Nand received the Sojourner Truth Award due to his academic performance and outstanding leadership skills in NJROTC. Nand enjoys giving back to the surrounding area and being involved in the school community. He has been a member of the Model United Nations, the Scholastic Bowl Team, Debate Club, and the Youth Volunteer Corps. Nand has also completed over 250 hours of volunteer work in the community. Nand, we're proud to recognize you as our February Senior of the Month for York High School. Congratulations. We're going to move on to our Student Service Awards. Dr. Shander, I know you want to go down front. So when we call your name, if you would come up with your principal, that'd be great. There's Mr. Higginbotham.
Yes, for Coventry Elementary School, we have the student Logan Argerbright. If you can come on up with Principal Mr. Brian Fries. Coventry is honored to recognize Logan Argerbright as our Student Service Award recipient for this school year. Logan has attended Coventry since preschool and is an essential piece of our Coventry community. Logan models our positive behavior expectations and is a role model for his classmates and all of our Coventry Cougars. At Coventry, Logan was selected to serve as a student ambassador. Our ambassadors are nominated by classroom teachers, and they work closely with the school counselors to help new students transition to Coventry. Logan's Coventry experience and expertise alone would make him a wonderful ambassador, but his welcoming spirit and genuine desire to help others are even more important. When a new student joined his class recently, Logan immediately welcomed the student and assisted with a number of activities, from touring the school to teaching the student how to log into his new Chromebook. Outside of Coventry, Logan and his family are avid leaders and participants in the Lemonade Stand fundraiser for the Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters. From participating in physical, in-person lemonade stands to getting creative with the Lemon Olympics last summer, Logan gives back to an organization which supported him during his pediatric cancer diagnosis and treatment. Logan even leads his friends and classmates to support, which multiplies the impact of his service. Please join us in congratulating Logan Argerbright as Coventry's Student Service Award recipient.
Mr. Schaefer.
Yes. Next we have from Queens Lake Middle School, you have Isaiah Randall. Come on up. And his principal is Mrs. Jennifer Goodwin. Queens Lake Middle School is proud to recognize Isaiah Randall as our Student Service Award winner. Isaiah is a model student and an example for everyone at Queens Lake Middle School. He displays Panther pride behavior each and every day during school and in after-school activities by displaying the highest level of sportsmanship. He is connected to our school in many ways. For the past 2 years, he has been a member of our National Honor Society, or National Junior Honor Society, for his high academic performance and is a valued member of our boys basketball team as a point guard. He supports the team by helping new players learn plays, models positive sportsmanship, and demonstrates how to balance school and extracurricular time. His coach shared that Isaiah is a strong athlete with a great sense of humor, and he is the light of the team. Isaiah is an ambassador for new students at Queens Lake Middle. He helps them learn their way around the building and makes them feel comfortable as they get acquainted. Despite all his after-school activities, he consistently earns a place on the honor roll. When Isaiah is not in school or on court, he volunteers regularly at New Zion Church, where he attends with his family and serves as an usher and sings in the choir. He supports his father's work there as well, including helping at the local homeless shelter. Isaiah Randall is a son, brother, and student that we can all be proud of each day. He makes our school better by being a part of it. We congratulate Isaiah and his family on this special and deserving recognition. Congratulations.
All right. Our Dare Elementary Award recipient will be recognized later on in the year. So we'll move into our Community Volunteers of the Month. Again, when we say your name, come on up with the principal. And Mr. Myatt.
Yes, we're pleased to recognize Miss Ashley Narkowitz, Coventry Elementary Volunteer of the Year. Ashley is unable to join us this evening due to a family commitment, but she will be here next month, and we'll celebrate with her together next month in March.
Mr. Richardson.
Yes, I have Dare Elementary's Volunteer of the Month. If Ms. Wessler would come up with the principal, Ms. Hutton, and the assistant principal is here as well, Ms. Kurtz. Perfect. Well, Chris Wessler is a master gardener and a 4-H schoolyard habitats outreach partner dedicated to enhancing opportunities to engage all students with authentic learning at Dare Elementary. She volunteers endless hours for the beautiful butterfly garden. Ms. Wessler created and maintains the plant pollinator habitat, which is used by classes as an outdoor learning lab, and she partnered with another volunteer for the bluebird nest boxes and the Nest Cam project. Ms. Wessler works endless hours to beautify the butterfly garden, maintaining it through all seasons and devoting her time and energy to help it prosper. Even during the hottest of days, you can see her weeding, mulching, and watering. Ms. Wessler is extremely knowledgeable about the garden, the butterflies, and nature's role in the environment. She provides engaging lessons and resources for students to learn about monarch butterflies, native plants, and birds. Ms. Wessler volunteers her time every year to all second-grade classrooms to teach about the butterfly cycle and what to expect from each stage. This year, when one of the classes had a scare, she came to the rescue, rushing to the school to take care of the caterpillar. Ms. Wessler is a role model for our Dare Dolphins, and she was always friendly, kind, caring, and helpful. In addition to being an outstanding master gardener, she has also co-sponsored the school's Earth Kids Club. Ms. Wessler is an incredible resource and dedicated volunteer for the school. But I'd also like to share something that Ms. Wessler shared this evening, that the Schoolyard Habitat Program was born through the vision of Barb Dunbar and Jody Turner. Barb was delighted to see the students learning about the pollinators and the gardens, and her optimism was contagious. Sadly, Bob Dunbar passed away and was buried today. But her legacy lives on in the beautiful flowers that she loved. And Ms. Wessler is thankful for her influence and grateful for this honor. Congratulations.
I have the honor of reading our Volunteer of the Month from Queens Lake Middle. Would Lori Keskin come on up with Jennifer Goodwin? Ms. Keskin has made it her mission this year to make this the best year yet for our students, families, and staff at Queens Lake Middle. She has stepped up to serve as our PTA president. This year, she has planned multiple social events to make our staff feel appreciated, starting with a back-to-school luncheon for our staff on our open house day. She coordinated a winter wish list for the holidays where staff could receive instructional materials or motivational treats for students, and has ensured that our families have access to lots of new Panther swag to show their spirit. Additionally, Ms. Keskin coordinated a family event with food trucks at our fall band and chorus concert at Bruton High School. She's been able to think out of the box for ways to engage our families while keeping everyone safe with outdoor events. Ms. Keskin supported our Reflections Arts contest by not only promoting the event, but also by hosting our awards ceremony and school hall display. She keeps our staff lounge stocked with lots of treats to keep everyone going throughout the day. These may seem like small gestures, but they add up to make people feel special, valued, and appreciated. We're grateful for Ms. Keskin's time, energy, and commitment to the students, staff, and families of Queens Lake Middle School. We're proud to have Ms. Keskin recognized as our Volunteer of the Month. Congratulations. Right, we have our presentation from the York Foundation for Public Education. Mr. Schaefer, can you please share some comments?
Sure thing. I'd like to invite Ms. Catherine Goff, a York Foundation for Public Education board member, to step forward and assist Dr. Shandor as they present gifts to each of our award recipients. Please come up front when you hear your name called. Congratulations, Hugh Thompson, a fifth grader from Dare Elementary School, for reciting the Pledge of Allegiance at tonight's board meeting. We'd also like to recognize tonight's Student Service Award recipients, Logan Argobright from Coventry Elementary School, and Isaiah Randall from Queens Lake Middle School. We also congratulate our Seniors of the Month, Braden Kuykendall from Bruton High School, Matthew Bryant from Grafton High School, Bryson Fell from Grafton High School, the January award winner, Kiana Thomas from Tab High School, and Nand Patel from York High School. Special gifts from Cookie Text and Edible Tweet are being presented on behalf of the York Foundation for Public Education in partnership with their donor, Jean Fioca of Cookie Text and Edible Tweet. A Walmart gift card is also being donated by a foundation supporter. Congratulations.
Everybody hang out for just a second while people get some photographs.
Yeah, got to get the pictures.
Congratulations.
Did everybody get what they needed? Oh, okay, wait, couple more.
Congratulations.
Nice work, everybody.
Thank you so much. Next, we're going to move into the recognition of our school nurses. Dr. Shandor, I'll let you provide some details on this.
Thank you, Ms. Geraltz, board members. At this time, I want to ask Cheryl Parr, Associate Director of School Administration, to come forward to provide a special recognition for our health service providers.
Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, and Dr. Shandor. It is my honor and privilege to come before you this evening to provide a very special recognition. When the COVID-19 pandemic began, some 23 months ago, the definition of school as we knew it changed dramatically. As you well know, collaborative efforts were necessary for our students to return to in-person learning. One of the hardest working employee groups during the past 2 years has been our wonderful school nurses under the leadership of our Coordinator of Health Services, Alicia Hutchison. These caring health service providers have worked tirelessly to guide our schools during this time. Their efforts have been steadfast, and they have truly provided a guiding light throughout this journey. To meet the division's goal of returning students to as much in-person learning as possible, it was determined that school nurses would complete contact tracing procedures. Their commitment and dedication to this process has maximized learning opportunities, while at the same time keeping students and staff as safe as possible. In addition, throughout this entire time, they have provided a reassuring voice to all about how to maneuver through the many required COVID guidelines and procedures. To provide some perspective regarding their work, I offer the following statistics. Since September of 2020, we have had 2,936 positive cases. It's important to note that 1,710 of those have been since January 1st of this year. We have had 5,466 student or staff quarantines throughout this time, with 1,883 of the quarantines occurring once again since January 1st of this year. Remarkably, in some way, Coordinator Hutchison and our 18 talented school nurses were involved in every single case I just mentioned, with contact tracing many times occurring in the evening, on weekends, or on holidays. At this time, I would like to ask two of our YCSD principals to come forward to share more about this dedicated group of principals. First, we will hear from Kristen Bolam, principal of Yorktown Elementary, followed by Paul Rice, principal of Tab High.
Thank you, Ms. Parr. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Dr. Shandor. When I was asked to speak tonight about the value that our school nurses bring to our community, I thought about the tasks they accepted during the pandemic. Extensive contact tracing, as you just heard, the distribution of PPD, monitoring student and staff safety practices, communicating with impacted families, and educating non-clinically trained school leaders like myself on best pandemic practices. But I also thought about the many tasks our nurses have always completed: distributing daily medications, applying bandages, packaging lost teeth, offering a listening ear to students in crisis, and taking temperatures, to name a few. But then I realized that it is less important to share what our nurses do than it is to share with you how they do what they do. During my tenure in the York County School Division, I've had the privilege of working closely with 4 of the nurses and the coordinator of health services who are being recognized this evening, one of whom was brave enough to take on this responsibility only a few months ago as the nurse at Yorktown Elementary School. From these individuals, I have seen firsthand the compassion and the care extended to students who are ill and injured. I've seen them not only bandage cuts, wrap broken bones, and cool feverish foreheads, but offer hugs and hold the hands of anxious students who just want their families when they're not feeling well. I've seen the dedication to ensuring open communication with all of our families about both urgent and routine healthcare matters. And I've seen the commitment to providing accurate and efficient student care to ease the minds of families and contribute positively to student health and wellness in our school division. Finally, I have seen the care that our nurses extend to our ill and injured staff members. They've even tended a few of my cuts, allergic reactions, and migraines along the way. Therefore, it is with a grateful heart that I recognize our school nurses, the often unsung heroes within our school division. Dawn Midkiff, Debbie Clark, Holly Reeves, Julie Thomas, and Alicia Hutchison. Thank you for the difference that you have made in my life. And to all of our YCSD nurses, thank you for making a difference for our students, our families, and our staff. Your compassion, care, dedication, and openness have made it possible for us to serve our community better. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Shandor. It's my pleasure tonight to speak about my nurse, Holly Reeves, and the work of all of our nurses. The work of our nurses is near and dear to my heart. My sister is a NICU nurse for the last 25 years at CHKD. She also does outreach for Centera Hospital on the Eastern Shore. At TAB, we're blessed to have Holly Reeves. She has been at TAB for just about a year. She's already won an Apple Award, And she has also been named our Support Staff Member of the Year. So she's already had an impact, and so congrats to Holly. Her work at Her work at TAB has been defined by the pandemic, but it has not defined Holly. We have contact traced on the weekends. We have contact traced after athletic events, late into the night, during the school day, all while still having to do her job as the nurse. Students still come in for headaches and things like that, and she puts the phone down and she takes care of them. We've laughed, we've cried during this time, but she's always come back with a smile on her face and ready to go the next day. Her attention to detail makes our families and students feel like they are in capable hands. We are blessed to have Holly at TAB. Division-wide, our nurses have been so supportive of our staff, students, and families. We are thankful for the work they have done. They are the unsung heroes whose work is not always seen, but greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Principals Rice and Bolam. As you've just heard, we would never have been able to move through this pandemic without our school nurse professionals. The same can be said for Coordinator Hutchison. Her leadership has been invaluable and has allowed the division to positively make it through this pandemic by keeping her focus solely on our students. At this time, I would like to ask Alicia and all of our school nurses that are here to make their way to the front. Once they are in place, I will provide introductions for who is with us this evening. So come forward, ladies, at this time.
Hey, Kim.
At this time, I'd like to introduce who we have with us this evening. Audience, if you'd please hold your applause until all names are called. From York High, we have Kimberly Correa. From Bruton High, we have Kimberly Barden Robinson. From Queens Lake Middle, we have Laura Biondi. From Tab High, we have Holly Reeves. From Mount Vernon Elementary, we have Deborah Clark. From Tab Elementary, we have Monica White. From Magruder Elementary, we have Kimberly Peak. From Yorktown Elementary, we have Julie Thomas. From Grafton Middle, we have Crystal Gert. From Grafton High, we have Laura Como. From Grafton Bethel Elementary, we have Dawn Midkiff. From Waller Mill Elementary, we have Deborah Gardner. And last but certainly not least, we have our Coordinator of Health Services, Alicia Hutchison. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking this wonderful group for all they have done for the past 2 years. Thank you.
As you take your seats, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your tireless efforts on behalf of the board. It definitely has been an unprecedented time, so we appreciate you. I don't know if any of the board members want to chime in.
Yeah, there's a quote that says, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And I can't think of another group of people like nurses who constantly serve hundreds of people a day, both students, parents, teachers, and anybody else that might need it. So I just want to thank all of the nurses one more time for the incredible work you've done over the past 2 years in addition to your normal job. So thank you all very much.
All right, we're going to move into school board appreciation. Dr. Shandor, you have some comments?
Yes, just a few,
That's a little
thank you.
awkward.
It is, thank you. In recognition of School Board Appreciation Month, we would like to present each of our school board members with the Virginia School Board Association certificate of recognition, along with a gift, as just a small way to express our appreciation for them for their support, leadership, oversight, and student advocacy that they provide our school division each and every day. Your certificates and your gifts are in the back room, so we can get those to you following the meeting. This year has been filled with unique challenges, to say the least. On behalf of the school division, thank you for your dedication, flexibility, and commitment. Thank you.
All right, moving on to Accent on Academics. Dr. Shandor.
Thank you, Ms. Graltz. For this evening's Accent on Academics, Grafton Middle School will present information relating to their Make It Your Business class. This class provides students with the opportunity to design, establish, and operate a small business. Students produce a service or product that meets an identified school or community need. Students learn business terminology, basic entrepreneurship concepts, and fundamental business principles. The students have the opportunity to bring concepts to reality as they operate a pop-up shop at the end of the course and present their items for purchase to the community. Ms. Tiana Anthony, principal, will now introduce tonight's presenters. Ms. Anthony.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Shandor, and our esteemed board. We are very happy to be here tonight. The Make It Your Business class was proposed to the program of studies by Ms. Barrett, a Grafton Middle School teacher who joins me here today to celebrate the accomplishments of our students. As a former business owner, she saw the value of an entrepreneurial experience that begins in middle school and continues to the high school level. The attributes of an entrepreneur include passion, creativity, organization, and money sense, which are skills that prepare our students for life after pre-K through 12 education. I'm excited that the York County School Division made this opportunity available to our schools, and I look forward to the possibilities that lay ahead. I will turn it over to Ms. Barrett and our students.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here tonight to share our experiences in the classroom this year. Make It Your Business, the class provides students the opportunity to design, establish, and operate small business. Students learn business terminology, basic entrepreneurship skills, concepts, and fundamental principles of business. The students have the opportunity to bring concepts to reality as they operate a pop-up shop at the end of the course, and they sell their items to our school community. My students will be presenting the pitch deck, which is the pitch they obtained funding for during the course this year. Please welcome the presenters Arya Patel and Hajar Amar from the Candle team and Evan Britton from the Clipper Wallet team. Evan will go next.
This is the first step in the process of making our product. We start with a prototype. We need to have a good idea of what our product will look like. All teams created a prototype sketch. A prototype is a vision of the product in beginning stages of design. Teams use the prototype to work out the kinks before selling their product.
This was Team 1's product, the crayon candle and crayon figurines. We will be using their work in this presentation. These are the team members for Team 1, Seth Perkis, myself, Hajar Omar, Brady Leonard, and Makai Beckett. Even though there were creative differences at times, we worked together to create an amazing product. This is the business model canvas that we created to organize the steps taken to create our products. We will explain each component in the following slides. The customer problem, or reasons why customers should buy these products, are that kids want cool products that they can use, teachers can add a nice scent to the room, kids can draw with the figurines and spice up their room with a candle, and kids don't have to ask someone to drive them to the store to buy a candle or materials to draw and write with. The Make It Your Business class sold their products to target customers, which were Grafton Middle School students and staff at the end of the semester. With the sale of these products, kids can now get their own cool products at an affordable price from a place that is convenient for them, the school. The candles also make very nice gifts for friends and family. Mr. Birthday, what about a gift for your mother? These candles will impress any type of person. These candles and figurines were unique because we used recycled materials, the crayons, and we created a unique design, an anchor candle. Unfortunately, the anchor candle did not work as the mold did not work properly.
We sold our products next to the school cafeteria in late January. We are proud to say that we raised more money than expected. Between the two classes, we raised more than $700, which goes back into the Make It Your Business class fund. We made posters to hang up around the school. We advertised the pop-up shop in the school newspaper, and we also made a tri-board advertisement that we had on our cart to catch customers' attention. We had to determine the unit cost in order to determine a sale price, which would allow us to figure out our profit and loss. Our team profited $127. We researched supplies that were needed to create our product. We did not buy candle tins as we did not need them because we had the silicone molds. I think the silicone molds worked better than the tins because we were able to make different shapes and sizes that our customers loved. Teams concentrated on the number of products they sold. This determined their profit. This is a price list of the items we sold. The anchor candle is crossed out because unfortunately we were unable to manufacture it. We appreciate the hard work the high school put in to make our anchor mold. However, the mold did not quite work as expected, so we had to take it off the market. They used their CAD program and the 3D printer to create the anchor mold. This is our cost analysis. We have 3 different types of wicks here, and our cost analysis helps us make a wise decision of which to buy. Here's how. We have 3 different brands of wicks here, and we list 3 descriptors of each item, the material cost, customer reviews, what makes the product a viable option, and potential issues that could happen while using this product. We then compared all of this and narrowed down our options until we found the best choice. This is an example of the budget form we used during this process. We used a table to list how much of each material we needed to make one candle, the units the material were sold in, how many products could be used, how many products could be made using the entire amount of the material, and it also showed how much material we would need, and it calculated the cost per unit. We pitched our product to the engaged in YCSD mentors who worked with us throughout the product development. We asked for $55.51, although this changed later on to help make our product successfully. Evan Britton will complete our presentation tonight.
After we receive our funds and purchase our materials, we move into the design stage. During this stage, we also create marketing materials such as flyers and backboards. Here are our finished products. You can also see examples in front of you. The products that were made during the semester were fuzzy pencil grips, CD art, rolling pencil case, jewelry, Grafton cups, Clipper Cash wallets, squishy stress ball, origami phone stands, and of course, candles and remade crayons. At the end of the process, we sold our products. These are pictures of the pop-up shops in the GMS cafeteria. And next is a video showing students reflecting on the semester.
My favorite part about the Make It Your Business class was the experience and hard work that we put into making our products. When I was making my product, I learned a lot about business and finance, and this class is important because it teaches you a lot about the different parts of business and entrepreneurship, and it is a great class to take if you're interested in majoring in a business subject in college.
What I like most about the Make It Your Business class is the process of making a product and working with a team. One thing I learned while doing this project is communication and teamwork. Why I think this class is important is because it shows you a sense of responsibility, hard work, and entrepreneurship.
Hi, my name is Beck Christensen and I'm in 8th grade. What I like most about this class is that I learned how to be more independent and work more efficiently. For my project, I did jewelry, and I learned how to work well with my group. This class is important because it teaches you how to be an entrepreneur, how to start a business.
Any questions?
board members, they gave us some samples before the meeting started, so if you want to take a look at those and if you have any questions or comments.
I have a quick comment. I've got to share with you guys. First and foremost, the presentation was lights out. That was wonderful. Thank you very much. I am so impressed with the depth. You went across the whole life cycle from design through development, obviously sales and marketing, the whole dynamic. Who's my product designer? Who enjoyed design the most in the group? Not so much, huh? Oh, there we go. Because that's where the tension is generally, and you're trying to understand customer needs. But it sounds like during the life cycle, you flexed too, as you learned a little bit more about your customers. How about sales? Who enjoyed sales the most?
I personally enjoyed selling the products at the pop-up shop. I thought it was fun to go around.
And it sounds like you guys had good success too, so congratulations. That's great. Thank you. Thanks.
I have a question. Did you have any pitfalls? Was there any mistakes that were made or setbacks?
So the high school, they did work really hard to make our ankle candle. However, the wax leaked through and it didn't quite work out. So that was one of our setbacks. We had to take that off the list of our products.
That's what happens when you outsource. To an unknown vendor.
I will say one of the things you said right at the beginning was there was some disagreement or tension along the way, but I think that we learn a lot from that too and how you handle it. So I think that's always a great part, the kids working through that. And again, just the curriculum and how well planned it was and just everything that it encompassed. So congratulations on that curriculum piece too. That was really great. Thank you guys. Anybody else?
Did you have fun? Yeah, it looks like it. You could tell. You could tell by your presentation and everything. That's what it's all about. Great job. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, the board will take a short recess so we can greet our award recipients. We will be back shortly. We'll now reconvene our meeting and move into the business portion. Unfinished business, is there any unfinished business? Seeing none, we'll move into our presentations. We have our operations update. Dr. Shandor, do you have any comments regarding this topic?
I do, thank you. Ms. Geraltz, board members, good evening. I'm going to ask Dr. Carroll, Chief Operating Officer, who will provide our operations update. Dr. Carroll.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Shandor, Madam Chair, members of the board. It's nice to be with you again. Before I start, I'd like to echo my deep gratitude of all the nurses over the last 2 years. Their efforts allowed us to be more responsive and precise in the practice of isolation and quarantine, and the work they did in January was absolutely awe-inspiring. So it's fitting that we honored them tonight, and it's also fitting because when we scheduled this recognition 6 weeks ago, we had no idea where we'd be in the timing of COVID-19 in terms of its dissipation and the speed in which this thing appears to be concluding. So as I stated in the meeting 2 weeks ago, COVID-19 conditions are changing extremely fast, and the guidance from different jurisdictions are following suit. And over the last 2 years, we've adapted to ever-changing guidelines, recommendations, requirements, orders, laws that directed maximizing recommendations and even constitutional challenges. And starting with the end of last week, there has been a major change in CDC guidance. And that, as of this morning, still put us at odds with VDH and Department of Labor and Industry guidance and recommendations. However, those conflicts continue to evolve and resolve even into late this afternoon. So let's not bury the lead. The division put out a message around 5 p.m. today, as Madam Chair reiterated at the top of the agenda, that VDH and the DOLE website postings were leaning into the new CDC guidance that relieves individuals of wearing masks if not directly treating known or suspected COVID patients. We do have some other items to brief the public on tonight, where we stand, and make sure that you and the public are up to date on all of our issues. And then I want to inform you on a calendar proposal for action at the end of my presentation. So let's start with where we are, with things that we're familiar with. Here we see that York County, the numbers for community transmission that I've shown you at practically all of my reports. And in my last report, that transmission sat at 184.8 per 100,000, and that was categorized as high. Now, for the balance of this presentation, I'm going to identify the owner of each metric because it has become quite confusing in the last 4 to 5 days. So where we were 2 weeks ago was VDH high. The numbers have continued to fall for 5 straight days. We were at 77.7 per 100,000 this morning. And this places us in what has been considered as substantial transmission for both CDC and VDH for almost the entirety of the pandemic. And so that's been the case, and every indication is we're going to continue to move through VDH moderate and low in the coming days. So next, another graphic that you're used to is our dashboard. And as usual, the division positive cases roughly reflect the community. In my last report, we were at 13 active positive cases. This morning, we were at 3. And as usual, there's usually a little bit of an uptick after the weekend. But I'm confident that we'll stay in at least single digits as we get through this week. Likewise, our quarantines have fallen from 2 weeks ago at 24 to 2. We have mentioned on occasion about the requirement for masks for staff, but we didn't go into detail since we were all masking in a universal fashion. Tonight, we would like to add detail and clarity for our staff so that they understood the enforcement that we were engaging in even after student masks became optional. So as you see here, the Virginia Department of Labor and Industry, or we called them DOLE, had a staff mask requirement, and it was under an emergency temporary standard. There are 2 things that could remove that: DOLE from removing it, or the level of VDH transmission falling below substantial, so into at least moderate. And the Safety and Health Board met on the 16th, and it announced its intent to remove the order, but they have a very long and arduous public comment period, and then they have to have a public hearing, and they were moving in that direction, and they may still be. We're not sure because things have become a little muddy. And then as far as community transmission, if in the during that time, if it were to fall down into VDH moderate or low, then the requirement would be removed for vaccinated staff only. But we had some changes start to happen last Thursday. And on that day, CDC released a new structure for defining community transmission. And this is, I think, the 3rd time for CDC, to go for a high, medium, and low. And it's based on entirely, well, not entirely, but different metrics than the VDH designations where we're currently in substantial. So the CDC is based on new cases per 100,000 and then 2 different hospital metrics or hospitalization metrics. And then also it's different in that it assigns responsibilities in 2 categories at each level of low, medium, and high. And the first one is individuals and households and the things that they should do. So this represents a shift to individual responsibility and what community agencies should do and ensure. And the one interesting thing here is that we are now seen as part of the community. There should be no more K-12 guidance. And then on the 25th, late in the afternoon, they surprised us with removing the requirement for universal masking on public conveyances, including school buses. Now, some Some people didn't think that was a real thing or that it didn't cover that, but the CDC was very explicit in addressing the removal of that order, and then they parsed out that school vans were discretionary to the school division. And then they removed the recommendation for universal indoor masking for communities in this new CDC low and CDC medium categories. So given that, as of today, we would be categorized as VDH substantial. So where would we be on the new CDC model? And here you see a picture from a CDC maintained map. This is a section that we cut out just so you could see it better. In York County is colored green, and green equals low transmission on the CDC model. So due to this CDC shift and VDH understandably lagging in response, earlier today we still had contradictory designations of CDC low and VDH substantial. Now when we look at the low category, there's, as I said, there's individuals and households, and then there is community agencies. Schools in the low category can only do two things or contribute to two things. One is provide maintenance of improved ventilation in our indoor public spaces. And this predated COVID because we've had our air conditioning systems up to ASHRAE standards. So that's not a problem, and we'll continue to do that. There's also, the communities are expected to ensure access to COVID-19 testing in an equitable fashion. We can't ensure that, but we can assist in that process. And so we plan to expand our eMed program. You know that we've been doing that we've used it for a employee test to stay. We've used it for employee and their families' diagnostics to help protect our operational integrity. And so now we'll expand it to student diagnostic use. We cannot use it for student test to stay or screening because those come from a different program. So in summary, you know that the first 2 points I shared with you at the last meeting, the VDH guidance stated that we could remove remaining mitigation layers working with our local health department. And then we met with the Peninsula Health Department, and they only asked that we act in accordance with the latest VDH guidance. And then CDC last week shifted more responsibility to households, and then the only thing that was left this morning was the DOLE staff masking that remained. And DOLE updated its website FAQ section just before 3 p.m. today. This update included an analysis of the DOLE standards for COVID-19 to confirm that employers adhering to CDC guidance are considered to be in compliance with the standard. It further states that employees whose job duties do not include providing medical assistance to known or suspected COVID-19 individuals in areas of medium and low community levels, as defined by the CDC, are free to work without masks. So those two things, along with our interpretation of things on Friday, contributed to the changes that we've made in mitigation layers today. And that was that we removed masking on buses or made it optional for students for today. And then at around 5 o'clock today, we removed the DOLE requirement for staff masks. So you remember that in the last meeting, I shared with you the remaining mitigation layers that we would want to visit once we got under VDH high. And so we are announcing that starting tomorrow, we plan to scale back frequent disinfection of high-touch surfaces. We are going to reduce the staggering of communal spaces and use of cohorts and pods, which affects distancing. Now, this will be the discretion of the principal and will be based on justifiable academic or supervisory purposes. 3 more that we'll be removing tomorrow is limits on field trips, limits on volunteer participation, and limits on visitors in the building, 2 visitors to buildings. And those layers that will remain are these three. The CDC, while not having separate K-12 guidance, did mention that community settings such as schools might include additional layers of prevention. Therefore, we will keep in place these three, but anticipate removing them in very short order given the trajectory of community transmission. So it will be the remainder of those communal space staggering, limits on indoor student assemblies, and limits on indoor public assemblies. And as I shared with you last time, isolation doesn't appear, and that guidance doesn't appear to be going anywhere. And staying home sick is a county policy or division policy that predated COVID-19. So with that said, that concludes my COVID remarks. I have one more operational update. For the purposes of providing staff additional time for instructional planning, as we've done twice earlier this year due to the additional demands of the school year, and given the fact that we have high confidence that we are done with the winter weather, so we shouldn't have any problems with instructional hours, staff proposes that we convert March 11th from a student half-day to a teacher/student holiday. And related to that, we will adjust the grading window so that it closes on March 11th at 5 p.m. and interim report postings will be moved from March 10th to March 15th. And with that, that concludes my report, and I welcome any questions you may have.
Absolutely, thank you.
I just wanted to make an observation. I haven't seen you smile that much up at the podium in a long time.
It's been a long time.
I don't have a question, but I'd like to make a motion about the calendar change, because I think it's certainly important for our teachers to have that time for the grades and everything. So I would like to move to approve the recommendation of the change to the 2021-2022 calendar to convert Friday, March 11th to a student holiday/teacher workday.
Give it a second.
I'll second.
Board?
Yes, the motion was made by Mr. Richardson and seconded by Mr. Schaefer to approve the proposed calendar change as stated. Mr. Myatt?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes.
Mr. Higginbotham?
Yes.
Ms. Geralds?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passed 5-0.
Does anybody have any questions, comments further on the operational update?
Do we know exactly what changed with the Dolly requirement? Because originally, we had been advised with that 30-day period, and then it had to have that. So I was just curious why that sort of came sort of out of nowhere today. Not that I have a problem with it. I'm just
It's
curious.
still there, yeah.
Right. I might defer to Ms. Berry to talk about that because it gets very legal at this point.
Well, the Dolly requirement, everyone was looking at the change in the CDC guidance. So when the CDC came down, the Dolly requirement was looking at that. They announced their decision, so to speak, to move towards relaxing the mask requirement, but they went through the proper process as required by law, and we're doing the 30-day comment period. So that slowed it down, but we knew where that was going. And then the Virginia Health Department going on to the CDC guidance, that further supported it. And the Dolly guidance did provide an avenue for employers to look at CDC guidance, and if we comply with the mandated and non-mandated requirements, we would be in compliance. And by CDC changing their metrics and how they determine what level you were in, at that point, we were able to comply, and everything fell into place. So it was like a domino effect. Everything just kept falling.
Well, I think the requirements were always there with Dolly to, that we could relax the masking standards if we fell under a certain amount.
Right.
But we were following VDH, and now VDH says, oh, follow CDC. CDC is now in the lower range, so we're able to remove it. That's the big change.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
I think for 2 years, we've been trying to hit moving targets and conflicting information. I know you changed your presentation a few times today. I know we were on phone calls, head spinning. So I think from the beginning of this, we asked our families to be flexible and be able to adapt as we moved through. I know we've had to do that. I know you've all had to do that too. So thank you. And again, I appreciate that you're standing there smiling because it means,
I know you're an
We've got
expert in the
some-
field now, but where can you use it now?
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully, you won't be able to use it again, but hopefully.
thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carroll.
Right, now we'll have a Human Resources update. Dr. Shandor?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Geralds. Dr. Vladu, Chief Human Resource Officer, is going to provide a Human Resources update, which includes a proposed FY22 pay plan update. Dr. Vladu?
Good evening, School Board Chair Goreltz, members of the board, and Dr. Shandor. Tonight, I have one update which consists of pay plan changes or proposed pay plan changes to FY22 pay plan. As you remember from our last school board meeting, we have been bringing a number of out-of-cycle compensation reviews for approval before you. Tonight, I bring before you several proposed updates to the pay plan that are categorized as follows. First, as you'll remember, back in January, you approved starting salary for school bus driver of $17. We come to you tonight to request that we also update the salary of the transportation staffing specialist who is responsible for helping school bus drivers train to earn the CDL proportionally to pay grades from grade 15 to grade 17. Again, this is a proportional increase that matches those made to the school bus drivers. The second set of proposed changes are related to licensed trade positions. So these are individuals who may be characterized as non-licensed but are required to have a license, for instance, ASC mechanics, HVAC, and a number of other positions. So I'll begin listing some of those positions that you see on the slide before you. First, the Service 1 technician, we're recommending to regrade from 16 to 18. Second, we're also recommending that the master carpenter, master electrician, master HVAC technician, master plumber, master service technician, and multi-trade technician to regrade from 19 to 21. Also, we are recommending the regrading of the HVAC supervisor for grade 20 to grade 22. In the last category of recommended changes, we would like to add one new position titled Assistive Technology Autism Services Improvement Team Coach. Again, this would be a position at pay grade 26. Last, we're requesting to convert the licensed clinical social worker position to a lead social worker to provide the supervision required, particularly in the post-COVID or during COVID environment. So this concludes the changes I'm bringing before you. At this time, I'm open to any questions or comments that you might have.
Anybody?
I have no comments or questions. Well needed, I think.
Yep, understand.
That was easy, huh?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vladu.
Thank you, Dr. Vladu.
All right, now we're going to move into comments of citizens. Public participation at board meetings. We have two opportunities to speak this evening. The first is for general topics, and the second is specifically for comments relating to the public hearing on the FY23 operating budget. Before I open for public comments, I will share some remarks. School board provides a public comment period for the public to comment on topics germane to the business of the school board. School board expects that each speaker will be courteous, modeling for our students how we can respectfully disagree with one another's views. We ask that speakers address their comments to the entire school board and not to one individual board member, nor to the superintendent, a staff member, or the audience. Speakers will present their comments from the podium. Each speaker may speak for up to 3 minutes. A timer is visible to speakers from the podium, and speakers should conclude their remarks when the red light comes on. The timer will begin after you state your name and address. Relating to safety measures, we're providing individual sign-up sheets and pens for each speaker, and we ask that you speak loudly, as a safety shield muffles your voice. I now open up the public participation for comments of citizens. And it looks like we have 0 comments, people signed up. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak for this portion? All right. And I'll close the public participation for comments of citizens and open up public hearing on the FY23 operating budget. Dr. Shandor, any comments to share?
I have just a few comments. Thank you, Ms. Geraltz. My budget proposal for FY23 has been released and copies are available in public libraries in the county and on the school division's website. Tonight, the school board is conducting a public hearing on that proposed budget. Some highlights included in my budget proposal are the operating budget totals roughly $169.4 million, or 3.8% more than the approved FY22 budget. The budget includes a $5 million, or 6.1% increase in state revenue, and $1.8 million, or 3.2% increase in the county contribution. The FY23 proposed budget is based on a projected student amount of 12,671 students. This is an increase of 251 students over the actual FY22 student membership. However, it's 467 fewer students than our FY21 target of 13,138. On the expenditure side, my recommendations regarding the FY23 budget focus on three main budget priorities: unfinished learning, retention and recruitment, and mandates and safety. The budget includes $1.4 million in savings, which comes from staff attrition, $659,000, the elimination of 10 vacant teacher positions, $700,000, and 2 vacant paraeducator positions at $60,000, which will be used to assist in funding the three budget priorities. Just a reminder, my budget was based on Governor Northam's proposed budget. The General Assembly is still in session and considering amendments to the proposed budget. The General Assembly is scheduled to complete its work on a final state budget on March 12th. The school board will hold a work session on March 14th to have further discussion relating to the superintendent's proposed budget. The school board is scheduled to approve their FY23 budget proposed on March 28th for forwarding to the Board of Supervisors for their consideration during the budget process. That concludes my information.
And it looks as though we have nobody signed up to speak on this section, but do we have anybody in the audience who would like to? Seeing none, I close the public hearing on the FY23 operating budget. So now we'll move into matters by board members. Mr. Richardson, would you like to start?
Yes, that would be wonderful. Thank you. I don't want to steal too much of Mr. Schaefer's thunder, but I did go see the play at Bruton High School, the SOA play, The Addams Family, and the lead in that was our high school senior of the month from Bruton High School, Braden, who was here tonight. Did an awesome job. You know, when you think about high school kids and how they sing and all, I mean, I don't know how he remembered all the lines and the words to all the songs. I mean, he pretty much was there the whole night, but he did an awesome job. But so did everybody else, the crews that did the lighting, the sound, just the other actors and actresses. They all did a phenomenal job. But I also had an opportunity to go to Tab High School with Mr. Rohn. I meet with Mr. Rohn monthly, my cohort on the Board of Supervisors. And you know, we meet and discuss things, and somehow we got on the topic of connecting children to schools, and I was telling him about this esports that we had at Tab High School, and he was very interested in that because he's a gamer. So he really perked up a little bit when I was talking about that. So we had a tour of that program at Tab High School. Dr. Shandor met us there, and it's just a great way. These kids, the students, are at home typically, you know, playing with whoever online. They don't know who they're playing with, but this way they're playing at school against another school on a team, and it makes it competitive. And they're also playing with each other. And what was interesting to see was after the event was over, and they won, that they stuck around. They were there for another 20, 30 minutes at least before I left, still playing games. So they, you know, they could have left, the game was over, but they stayed there and continued to play. And they were having a great time at it. But anyway, that's all I have for tonight, but thank you.
They're the two-time state champions.
They are the
Yeah,
two-time
that's
state
true.
champions, true. That's true.
Way to throw that in there. All right, Mr. Schaefer?
Yes, true. Jimmy and I, unbeknownst to each other, we both went to the Friday night performance of The Addams Family, and it was really, really good. The kids were still in mass. That was the only thing that I didn't like. But the SOA program at Bruton is just so awesome. It was so well attended. It was well attended every night. And I saw Jimmy at intermission and had a good talk. And we went up, and I went and checked out the learning comments while I was there. And I told him to go check out the new bathrooms.
They were nice.
You don't understand. For 20 years, those bathrooms by the SOA have been rough, and they are magnificent now. They are the best. And then we did that on the 11th, and then on the 17th, I attended a very neat meeting with the York Foundation for Public Education, and I went into it knowing a little bit about it because my wife had gotten a grant from them years ago for her classroom and all. But when you listen to the plans of these people, you can tell that these people have been working together for a long time. They're professionals at what they do, okay? And the best thing that they do is raise money for York County schools. And going through, talking about the golf tournament that they had, and the one gentleman goes, "Mark, do you realize that we raised $22,500 with that golf tournament last year?" I'm there, "Oh my gosh, no, I didn't." They have so many things going on, so many irons in the fire, and it's all to support our schools, and it's all voluntary. I mean, it's just an awesome thing, and I look forward to the next meeting. For the next couple of days, though, Wednesday, took off work so I can go read across America in the schools. Got to go hit both my elementary schools, and I'll read probably the same book about 4 times in each, and then go visit Queens Lake and Bruton afterwards in the afternoon. But I'm looking so forward to that because the kids, when you read to them, you get a connection. You really do. And the first graders, third graders, it doesn't matter. If you're reading to them, you have their rapt attention, and they listen totally. And it is just the neatest thing to see the effect that reading has on kids. And it hopefully will develop a love for reading in them. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mr. Myatt.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I want to congratulate Tiana Thomas, TT, who's a teammate of my daughter's, the Tab High Senior of the Month. I was very pleased for her, and her grandmother was in from Atlanta, so the timing was perfect. I also want to congratulate the cast, crew, and volunteers at Tab's presentation of Clue last month that I also had an opportunity to attend. All the team's hard work shined through during the performance. I want to congratulate again the cast, the crew and volunteers, and Miss Milne, who is the drama teacher at Tab. It was very much, I'm sure, like the SOA presentation. It was wonderfully done, a standing ovation, as you might imagine, and it was very, very enjoyable. I had a really nice time. As we all know, it's National Career and Technical Education, or CTE Month. We had our proclamation last month in preparation for recognition and are, again, reinforcing our commitment to career and technical education. I want to shout out to our coordinator for career development, Jennifer Romanelli, and our career coaches, Robbie Garnett and Julie Warlick, and all the hard work that they continue to do in that integrated Career Connections framework. I also attended the New Horizons Regional Education Center virtual open house, the most recent one. And I would encourage those that are interested in New Horizons programs, there is availability, and they are recruiting through March and into April. So pay the website a visit, and then also pay the division website and Career Connections a visit, so you get a little bit of insight, again, on that Career Connections framework and how we are working CTE in the career development clusters and paths from elementary school through high school in career readiness and college preparation. So again, wanted to mention that. And then I also would like to mention, and most importantly, I'm going to take this opportunity to acknowledge it's Black History Month, as we know, and we join together in paying tribute to generations of African Americans and their enormous contributions to our American story. So I wanted to make sure and highlight that this month also. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Higginbotham.
Yes, Mr. Schaefer, you keep talking about these bathrooms at Bruton.
I'm telling you.
Next week when we're up there for the learning conference,
I will take you on a tour.
I'm gonna have to stop in and see what all the fuss is about these. But no, I'm really excited to get up there next week and check out the learning commons at Bruton. March is also Music in Our Schools Month, so I do want to give a shout out to all of our music teachers in our schools, from elementary to high school, all the different topics and subjects that they teach. And this is also a big month for performances for that, so I want to send good luck to all the bands and choruses that are doing district chorus or have done it, or district band coming up, pre-assessment concerts, their assessment concerts. There's a lot of hard work that's going up, and I encourage, board members to check out any of those as they come up throughout the month. I also want to give a shout out to all of our athletes that are finishing up their winter sports and getting ready to probably immediately start the new ones for the spring sports coming up, and then, all the different plays and musicals that we have going on over the spring. Those are getting ready to start up, and then our clubs have some performances or some events and competitions that they're going to be going to as well. So I just encourage everyone to continue to push through the month of March. The month of March can sometimes feel like the longest year of the year, basically, with this getting to spring break. So, I encourage everyone to keep working hard and to keep pushing forward towards that spring break. And I've also been hearing about some of the schools have announced their Teachers of the Years and their Educators of the Year and their Support Staff Members of the Year. I just want to give a shout out to all those, and we appreciate the dedication that they give every day to the students and families in the communities that they serve. So thanks. That's all for me.
All right, just for my comments, this month I got to be a judge at the York High School Olympic-themed door contest, which was really fun. It reminded me of pre-pandemic times. And so I'm very grateful for that invite from Dr. Butler. And then I got to enter the chili cook-off a different day at York High School. And a funny story behind that is when I was PTA president, we started that chili cook-off, and I would enter every year, and sometimes I would win, but I actually couldn't win because I was the one that was running it. So I was very excited to win this year, but it didn't happen. That's okay. And Mr. Myatt and I had our joint meeting with our board supervisors, Ms. Knoll and Mr. Shepard. It was a very productive meeting. And in that meeting, we committed to meeting on a more regular basis with chair and vice chair of both boards just to foster that relationship. So I'm grateful for that positive meeting and those conversations. We had our virtual science fair award ceremony. I got to give a few comments that evening, and just kudos to the staff that puts that on virtually. I can't even imagine what goes on behind the scenes, but kids eating dinner at the table and clicking back off. So that was really great to be a part of that. And then I got to attend the Job Jamboree, and I know that I privately sent kudos to our staff for just an amazing event. I mean, the people were flooding through the doors the entire time I was there. It was a well-oiled machine, and then just hearing the stats afterwards about how many people came through the door and offers made for bus drivers and everything. So that was really, really great. Got to attend a Title IX training, and then I also attended the VDOE public comment on driver's ed and health and PE curriculum. So I can't say that was super exciting, but it was nice to hear those comments on what people are looking for that. We had our Special Education Advisory Council meeting for the month of February, and one of the things that they're working on is having parent meetups outside of meetings to give families a chance to just be in community with one another, and they held that as the Persnickety Crane this past weekend. So it's just kind of exciting. They're finding ways to branch out and really connect with other parents. And so if you are a parent of a student with a disability, I would encourage you to, again, check the website and try to get connected with that committee. And then, again, this week is Read Across America Week. I'm very excited to read at York Elementary and Seaford Elementary. Got an email saying, how many classes do you want to read to? We have all these teachers that want you to come. And I'm like, listen, I'll pack them all in. I obviously can read fast, so we'll work out. So anyway, thank you very much. We'll move on to our financial matters. Mr. Myatt.
I have the honors, do I not? So, consideration for approval of claims certified for payment. We have claims certified for payment for January of 2022, and significant expenditures in the form of payments for December include, and these are payments related to instruction, a total of approximately $322,000, include payments primarily to New Horizons, $203,000 approximately for special education tuition, and also Whole Phonics, $56,150 for level 2 and 3 readers. Power School, $30,500 for license renewal and applicant tracking. And RICOR, $15,600 for online forms and payment system. Payments as they relate to information technology totaled $153,155 and include payments primarily to CDWG, nearly $48,000 for 42 Surface tablets. Virginia Business Systems, $35,750 for December and January copiers, and approximately $42,140 for Ethernet and Internet services to Cox Communications. Payments related to operations and maintenance totaled $38,910 and included a $28,450 payment for utilities to Virginia Power. Payments for capital improvements totaled $533,290 and include payments, again, primarily to AstroTurf, nearly $457,000 for turf replacement at Bailey Field, and $25,900 for Mid-Atlantic Technology for the replacement of the sound system at Bailey Field also. So that's wonderful. Payments related to administration totaled $17,250 and include a payment to the Virginia Risk Sharing Association, or the VRSA, for workers' compensation claims. Payments for food service totaled $630,000, with a lion's share of that, nearly $346,000 for December and January food service operations to Sodexo. Pardon me, excuse me. Consideration for approval of financial reports for January 2022. Significant changes related to the operational budget, and this pertains to January revenues. Local source revenue for fiscal year 2022 is down $459,000 when compared to 2021. YCSD received a one-time lease payment in fiscal year 2021 for $450,000. Sales tax revenue for 2022 is up more than $1.1 million as a result of expected economic growth. And federal revenue for January 2022 is down $4.7 million when compared to January of 2021. The division received a one-time federal stimulus grant in 2020 totaling $2.2 million in December 2020 and $2.3 million of an impact aid payment in January 2021. For expenditures for instruction have increased by $4.7 million in January 2022 when compared to 2021. This is a result of the scheduled pay increase for FY22 and the result of moving 10-month employee pay schedule up 1 month earlier in FY 2022. Expenditures for transportation, technology operations, and administration and health have increased $1.9 million as a result of a pay increase for FY22. Significant changes to the food service budget for revenues and expenditures. Federal food service revenue for January 2022 has increased by more than $1.2 million. That growth in revenue is due to an increase in student participation and the USDA's decision to cover the cost for all student meals in fiscal year 2022. Food service expenditures for January 2022 have increased $944,000 when compared to 21 due to increased student participation and the replacement of kitchen equipment. Consideration for an approval for Resolution 22-11, a resolution authorizing a specific procurement. A reminder, again, 2211 requires board approval, authorizing procurements of more than $50,000. There are 4 items on the resolution totaling $506,000, and they are Riverside Paper Supply contract modification for janitorial supplies, $100,000. The Bruton High turf installation, some preliminary work amounting to $200,000. The Tab Elementary playground and drainage issues for $160,000. And a contract modification for the Faison School tuition of $46,000. Madam Chair, I now move to approve financial matters as listed.
I'll second that.
Mr. Richards. Ms. Ford?
Yes, the motion was made by Mr. Myatt and seconded by Mr. Richardson to approve the financial matters as listed. Board members, you may cast your vote. The motion passed 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ford. We'll move into our consent calendar. And today for the consent calendar, we have approval of personnel actions, approval of minutes from the special organizational meeting on January 10th, 2022, a special meeting on January 24th, 2022, and a regular meeting on January 24th, 2022. We have approval of donations in the amount of $2,000. We have the approval of updates to the FY22 pay plan. We have the approval for overnight trips for the period of March 1st, 2022 through November 1st, 2022. We need, that would be the approval of the consent calendar as listed. Could I have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar as listed?
I move to approve consent calendars listed.
I'll second.
Ms. Ford?
Yes, the motion was made by Mr. Higginbotham and seconded by Mr. Myatt to approve the consent calendar as listed. Board members, you may cast your vote. The motion passed 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ford. All right, next we have an action item, an approval of a proclamation for Social Work Month, March 1st through 31st, 2022. Dr. Shandor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board members, in recognition of our school social workers and the tremendous work they do, we have 6 of them that serve all 19 of our schools. Ms. Catherine Anthony, Ms. Sheree Cotman, Ms. Florence Bivens, Ms. Abby Perry, Ms. Jordan Stanley, and Ms. Roshana, is it Tom? I didn't say Tom. So this evening we have Ms. Jordan Stanley, Ms. Florence Bivens, Ms. Sheree Cotman, and Ms. Abby Perry. They're all in attendance, along with Ms. Erika Harold, Student Services Coordinator. They're all here this evening. If we can please have them stand just for a moment, please, so we can recognize them.
We should stand.
We certainly appreciate the work that our dedicated school social workers perform on a daily basis as they provide support to our schools, students, and our communities. Their training, knowledge, and willingness to find solutions to various challenges makes a positive difference in the lives of all of our students and their families. Ladies, thank you so much for everything that you do every day.
Thank you so much. Right, I need a motion and a second to approve a proclamation for Social Work Month, March 1st through 31st, 2022.
It would be my pleasure to move to approve the proclamation for Social Work Month, March 1st through 31st, 2022.
I'll second that.
Ms. Ford?
Yes, the motion was made by Mr. Higginbotham and seconded by Mr. Richardson to approve Social Work Month, March 2022. You may cast your votes. Yes, the motion passed 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ford. Then we move into policy discussion, and it looks like we have no policy items listed for discussion this evening. We'll move into policy first reading, and we have a first reading of policy LEB, Advanced and Alternative Courses for Credit. Dr. Shandor.
Thank you, Ms. Geraltz. So first reading, I think we have Ms. Skinner, you're coming up, correct? Yes, Tony got up and threw me. Sorry. So Ms. Skinner, our Chief Academic Officer, is going to provide information related to policy LEB.
Yes, and I shared this last week at the meeting as well. This policy just has a few changes. The first one just recognizes that with our courses, our dual enrollment courses, we're adding the opportunity to partner with other community colleges other than just Thomas Nelson. So this broadens it because right now we're partnering with Shenandoah for the teaching course that we're offering. The second part talks about adding other courses than just CTE. In the past, we've only done dual enrollment for CTE. So we're, as you know, and I've shared with the program of studies, we're adding English 12 as an option for students. So this just broadens the courses that we can add for dual enrollment. And then the last change really just allows, and it specifies that a college course does meet the 140 clock hours of instruction that is required for a credit-bearing course, and that information does come straight from the Virginia Department of Education. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Skinner.
Any questions? Okay.
Thank you. All right, and we have policy second reading, action, consideration of approval of second reading of policy G, personnel. Dr.
Yes, there were some additional changes here as well. Dr. Vladu, Chief Human Resource Officer, is going to provide some comments to those revisions. Dr. Vladu?
Board Chair Goreltz, school board members, and Dr. Shandor. So under Policy G, we have two proposed updates. First is GB. Under this policy, we're aligning the protected classes with Policy GBA. As you'll remember, in Policy GBA, we have a number of identified protected classes, so we're aligning that policy, GBA, with GB to include the same language. We're also standardizing this calendar days to school days. In other words, Oftentimes, we want to make sure we have the same measurement, and our policy at times has calendar days, at times school days, so we're standardizing to have the same measurement. And that is under, again, Equal Employment Opportunity Non-Discrimination Policy, GB. We're also proposing some additional changes to Policy GBA, Prohibition Against Harassment and Retaliation. In this area, we have changed the language again from working days to school days to standardize that measurement. We're also proposing to adjust the investigating, responding, and appeal timelines to align with the Department of Education. As you well know, if you take all of these legally required items and you add them to the calendar, this process can extend up to 120 days. So we're updating that policy to reflect those mandated requirements. Lastly, we have some additional specificity to the process itself, so when folks refer to that policy, they could understand what it entails throughout the investigative process. So again, this summarizes the updates to Policy G.
Any questions? All right, and then I need a motion and a second for the second reading of Policy G, Personnel.
Madam Chair, if I could just interrupt really quickly. If we could have the board please acknowledge, because board docs is not showing on the screen, so if the board can just vote verbally, that would help our community understand the voting process since it's not on the screen. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move we approve the second reading of Policy G, Personnel.
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Ford?
Yes, the motion was made by Mr. Myatt and seconded, I'm sorry, it was made by Mr. Schaefer, correct?
Yes.
And seconded by Mr. Myatt to approve the second reading of Policy G, Personnel. Board members, you may cast your vote and also verbally speak. And it looks like now it's up.
No need to verbally speak.
Now we've got it up, so I'm sorry.
We think it'll work this time.
Let's try. Yep, it's up there now. So we passed 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we have a consideration of approval of the second reading of Policy Section J, Students of the York County School Board Policy Manual for Quadrennial Review. Dr. Shandor?
Thank you, Ms. Geralds. Dr. Butler, Director of School Administration, is going to provide some comments relating to the revisions in Policy J. Dr. Butler?
Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Shandor. For Policy J, there's a few changes. The Deputy County Attorney reviewed the policy, and there's some citations that have been updated or deleted. I want to highlight just a few of the changes that were substantive in manner. So in File JB, which is the Equal Education Opportunities or Non-Discrimination Policy, it was updated to mirror the policy that Dr. Vladu just explained, which is GB. Those two policies parallel each other, and so the language was added to make sure that the process for handling complaints and appeals are parallel with one another. In addition to that, there were also a few changes that were made to JFHA, which is Prohibition Against Harassment and Retaliation. That also was updated to mirror Policy GBA with regards to timelines for investigations. So that was extended so that those two policies mirror one another. And then finally, there was one additional change that I do want to highlight this evening, and that was for Policy JED, which is Student Absences, Excuses, and Dismissals. So in VSBA, they mentioned that the division attendance officer is to handle complaints that go beyond 7 unexcused absences. In our division, we actually have a position, and so we put the actual title for that position. That's the Coordinator of Enrollment and Attendance, which is Mrs. Kim Snow. So that language was used to mirror what we do in practice today. So those were the changes that were highlights I wanted to make to changes. The other changes, again, were just minor grammar changes, or there were citation updates that had to be made to align with the Code of Virginia.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, then I need a motion and a second to approve the second reading of Policy Section J, Students of the York County School Board Policy Manual for Quadrennial Review.
Madam Chair, I move we approve the second reading of Policy J, Students of the York County School Board Policy Manual for Quadrennial Review.
Second.
Ms. Ford?
Yes, the motion was made by Mr. Richardson and seconded by Mr. Higginbotham to approve the second reading of Policy J. Board members, you may cast your vote. Okay, it looks like it's not registering our votes. So Mr. Richardson,
Yes.
Mr. Higginbotham,
Yes.
Mr. Myatt,
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer,
Yes.
Ms. Geralds?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passed 5-0.
Now we have our report from the superintendent. Dr. Schaefer.
Thank you, Ms. Geralds. Just a couple comments this evening. First, I want to reiterate our team's appreciation for the school board. It is School Board Appreciation Week, month, year, whatever you want to call it. We're super, I just have to say, being a school board member is not an easy role. And especially when you think about our current landscape across the state and across the country with what's going on. And you guys have all hung in there. We literally almost threw you into the fire 2 Februarys ago when we had a fire, and then COVID hit, and you guys have been, supportive, asked really insightful questions. You provided oversight, you provided guidance to our team. So we're really fortunate to have you guys serve. The folks most residents don't understand what it takes to be a board member and the courage it takes to sit up here and to take the feedback, criticism, or, whatever from the community. And, it takes a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll just go back to courage. It takes a lot of courage to sit up here, take feedback from the community, and help us lead the school division with, be responsible for almost 13,000 kids and all of our teachers. So we appreciate everything that you've done and everything that you're continuing to do. I also want to take a minute. There is no real formal appreciation for your cabinet team or your executive leadership team, but I couldn't be more proud of Dr. Carroll, although we've heard him give way too many operations updates in the past 2 years. Couldn't be more proud of him and the work that he and Dr. Butler and Ms. Parr and the rest of his team in the LT has done. Mr. Bowen, with the last 2 years, working through finances with the county, with the state, with the federal impact aid and all those types of things. Ms. Skinner, working with DOE related to all the changes with instruction. Dr. Vladu, who has worked extremely hard with Ms. Corbin-Staton. When you think about all the ADA requests and all of the things that he's had to do, couldn't be more proud of all of them. Last but not least, our communications person who has to wrap her arms around every single topic and then communicate it out to the public. So, Ms. Goff's done a great job with that. And Elaine Gould is in here as well, part of the instruction team. So really fortunate to have all these people support the work of the school division and really, really support our principals to lead, to help our students get everything that they can get out of our schools. So I'll say that first. Thank you. And then last but not least, everyone else has mentioned National Read Across America Day on March 2nd. I want to encourage our staff members to get in and read to our students. There's nothing better than reading books to the kids. So I'm certainly going to participate in that. I know our other staff members will as well. So with that, this concludes the superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next work session will be held on Monday, March 14th at 6 p.m. Here at York Hall. And we are in need of a closed session relating to personnel matters, and I would like for a board member to make a motion to take us into closed session, please.
Okay. I move that the York County School Board convene in closed session to discuss personnel matters relating to specific employees pursuant to the personnel exemption at Section 2.2-3711A1 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act.
I'll second.
Ms. Ward?
Yes, the motion was made by Mr. Schaefer and seconded by Mr. Myatt for the school board to go into closed session. And board members, you can go ahead and cast your vote.
Mr. Myatt inadvertently logged out.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and we will do a roll call. Mr. Richardson?
Yes.
Mr. Higginbotham?
Yes.
Mr. Myatt?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Ms. Geralds?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passed 5-0. You're now in closed session.
Excellent. Meeting is now adjourned. Have a great week, everybody.